Welcome back. We're back with your sporting action now. South African senior softball women's team is expected back in the country on Sunday after they participated at the WBSC World Championships out in Chiba, Japan. 16 countries took part in the championships, and Botswana and South Africa represented the African continent. Now, South Africa found themselves in Group A alongside the USA, Chinese Taipei, Puerto Rico, Mexico, the Netherlands, the Philippines and New Zealand. However, the South Africans failed to register a single victory. Mr. Mashilo Matsetela is the president of the South African Softball Association, and we're very pleased to welcome him in the studio. Mr. Matsetela, thank you so much for joining us, sir. Welcome.
Thank you very much for hosting me, Alicia. Let me say hello to the viewers there at home.
Look, tell us all about the process of identifying the players for the national duty. We've heard this can be quite a challenging task if you don't attend an affluent school, sir.
Well, we do have a process at Softball South Africa. The process that we normally follow, we normally do our selections at our national provincial championships. At this particular national championships, the one that we normally hold it annually in March, April. That's where we do the selection in most cases. At this particular tournament, there will be a national team of schools, a national team of universities, and all the provinces that will be coming from different areas. Before we get there, the schools, they do have their own tournaments from districts up until the national championships.
Okay.
From schools, I can safely say majority of the players that play at that particular tournament, they come from public schools. They don't come from affluent schools.
And this is what I wanted to know, Mr. Mashilo, like how big is softball in South Africa, hey?
Softball is big. It's a question of we are facing a catch-22 situation or a chicken and egg story.
Yeah, why
whereby, we need to be televised. But more often than not, the television companies, including SABC, will say,
are you blaming us, Mashilo?
Pay for the production costs. And we don't have the money to pay for the production costs.
Look, let's talk about why it hasn't been so publicized. I mean, I know I did softball when I was still back in school. And, many might say it's because you went to a certain school. That is why you had access to this. But in the public schools that I know in that area, nobody even knew what softball or badminton, as they call it, actually was.
Yes. It is true that, since 1994, when this issue of school sport was actually not taken care of, our federation suffered a lot. So, but we are now visiting we have went back to square one. We are going through the schools, and like I said, we do have a national league. Yes. So as a result of that, we are able to produce players. For instance, one of our national players who played at this particular tournament, she's under 17. She comes from the schools tournament. Okay. Yes. All
right. Look, do we even have a professional softball league in the country, Mr. Mashilo? Tell us more about that. How does one join besides, of course, going through the ranks of a high school level?
Currently, we don't have a professional league in the country. It's an amateur sport.
Okay.
But let me make you aware that we are now being declared as a Federation of the Year by the department. And as a result of that... So you're getting
recognition there,
yes,
slowly but surely.
We'll be running a national league next year.
Congratulations.
So we have moved a step forward. So we are getting there.
All right. Now let's talk about the preparations for the Tokyo 2020 Games. I mean, what goes into training for such a prestigious tournament? Have the teams been selected? Talk to us about the selection phase and how that is processed.
The 60% of the team has been selected already. Okay. This team that is playing currently that was in Japan, we have actually selected this team as part and parcel of the road to Tokyo 2020. We will assess and evaluate the performance of this particular team. We'll have to beef it up here and there, and we'll do further training camps and friendly games. Our next serious preparation game is next year in May in the country. We'll be hosting the whole continent, where we'll be doing the African qualifiers. So that will be towards the road to Tokyo.
Okay.
But 2 teams will have to qualify, meaning 2 countries. And thereafter, they'll have to play against 6 European countries.
So it's quite a tough competition, this, Mashilo. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
I mean, the whole world, the IOC has given softball only 6 slots. So only 6 countries will be at the Olympics.
My goodness, so that's something certainly to watch. But Mashilo, talk to us about this. I mean, do you think there's a huge demand now, or there's a rising demand of softball throughout the country? And how is the association now responding to that? Are you trying to find means into integrating it? We spoke about it. You did say that it is available at some public schools, but not all public schools.
True. There is an increase in terms of the numbers. We've seen that. Let me make you aware that initially we had only 7 provinces participating at our national championships. We now have 8.
Oh, wow.
So there is a growth.
Yeah.
This past Wednesday, I was in the Northern Cape trying to start the development there, because it is the only province that is still not yet participating. And I can tell you that the province do like us. And historically, Northern Cape always played softball.
Yeah.
In schools, in the defense, even in the community sport. So we just have to go and reactivate.
All right. And then how would you say we need to grow the sport in the country?
We have to do development. Schools, that is the biggest platform that we need to make use. We have to create clubs, community clubs, convert schools into community clubs. That's the only way.
All right.
And continuously do training and development.
Mashilo, well, I've given you your first publicity stunt here on SABC News. You said we don't cover your softball tournaments. I'm sure the sports department is listening and watching intently. And hopefully soon they're going to start going to cover these games. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. That is Mr. Mashilo Matsetela, the president of the SA Softball Association, talking to us about softball and the fact that it does exist in South Africa. And there is also quite a huge demand.
Thank you very much for having me, and thank you for the airtime given to us.